eating that shit up until I had to leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a baby. In this industry, what I'm doing ain't no right time to have a baby, so you have them when you have them. I don't regret when I got pregnant. I don't. I got pregnant on fucking purpose. That's what I wanted, a baby, that's what I got. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted Breakfast Club. You feel me? And I'm gonna say this. I don't fucking need to be there. I wanted to be there. I loved being there. That was my shit. You get what I'm saying? Like, that was my shit. I used to be happy as a motherfucker on the radio. Yeah, definitely. Listen, I'm not intimidated by no woman walking on this earth. I give a crown to that girl. If you listen to the show, you know. You the time she tried to be my friend. Excuse me? Ain't nobody trying to be no motherfucking friends. What are we talking about? We just naturally, organically became cool. Once I realized what the fuck was going on, like I said, my anger was misplaced. No, I did not like her when I first came back. I didn't. Even down to how I was supposed to return. Like, we had a whole plan on how I was supposed to come back. When I walk in the room, she never left. First thing she said is not, how your baby doing? No, that was Envy, because he's a family man, right? How was maternity leave? No, that's not the first. The first thing that she talks about is the shit that was in the comments. What the fuck would make me want to talk about the fucking comments first? I got a beautiful baby at home. Why? You know what I'm saying? So no, I did not like her when I first came back. I had to learn that Lauren was not a spiteful person. Like, I'm like, I don't like the way you're moving. I don't like, I ain't feeling this shit. We had a whole nother plan. I don't know what the fuck what that was in there, but that shit wasn't it. I ain't like that. We've made cool since then. That's it, right? I compliment this girl every fucking day. Every day. And it ain't forced. She's a beautiful girl. She knows her shit and she on her shit. And that segment came from me. Like, let's not even sit here and fucking play around with it. Like, it's the crazy thing. This is another crazy thing. We supposed to be a team up that bitch. Not one person comes to my defense at all. Like, when I'm like, not one motherfucker ever with this online shit. Like, why the fuck should we have to keep playing it? Man, listen, I know one thing. Angela, you ain't that motherfucking crazy. Not as crazy as niggas try to make out to be. Nah, it's the reason that lady wanted to leave that show. I don't know how she did that shit for 13 years, my nigga. I'm telling you. I don't give a fuck. Y'all already know what's up with me. I feel played with, I'm gonna play with niggas. Like, that's just like, come on. I've been quiet a lot. If Jess Hilarious is quiet, it's a motherfucking reason. I always got my motherfucking mouth open. All the time. Whether it's something y'all wanna hear or it's something that y'all ain't gonna wanna hear. I ain't got time. Didn't go live to talk about that retired ass nigga who still think he not retired. Nigga, you ain't doing nothing. And honestly, if he didn't hate me so much, I would actually agree with some shit that he was saying. I would. The girl is great at what she do. Lauren with the latest is flawless. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. She got that. I fought for that. The fuck is we talking about? I don't know how long it's gonna take for a motherfucker to confirm that. But yeah, it's like that. I started saying shit on air. Like I said, I don't know if y'all really listen to, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all really listen to that shit 6 a.m. or whatever. Yeah. I advocated for that. Get that shit to her. Get that segment to her. Man, that girl did what she did. She do it great. She was doing it great at TMZ. She doing it great at the Breakfast Club. I also, Ben said that she did great during the co-hosting year too. Said that. Along with Claudia Jordan and Jason Lee. I also said that. Okay? Stop trying to make me out to be a villain. Or like I'm the fucking hater or something. I ain't never gonna hate on no fucking woman. Ever. No. Now listen. I may not say everything that y'all, you know, I may offend women here and there. I offend men here and there. I offend others here and there, you know. Okay. And I ain't gonna agree with everything I say and do, but I am never going to hate on a woman, especially if she got it going on. Kid, I'm not. And Lauren DeRosa got it going on. She did. You know what I'm saying? I tell her that. Ask her. I don't know if she said it online. She thinks of me on air, but she don't thank me online. I don't, you know what I'm saying? And I guess, you know, shit a little different, you know, online. But if niggas is a team, if we supposed to be a team, now how about y'all clear some of this shit up for y'all teammate? This shit is ran like a high school. Yeah. It's ran like a high school. It is. Fair East Side High. Fair East Side High. Every day, they always talk about, you ain't at work, you ain't at work. Yeah, bitch, I started picking up more shows. Hell no. This how I'm getting. Hell no. Hell no. I have more fun outside the fucking studio than I have in there now. Is you crazy? Any chance I be on Zoom, any chance I can get to be on Zoom, I'ma do that. Fuck. No, especially not, man, look. Check this out. Check this out. I wanted Breakfast Club. I did. I wanted it. I wanted it. I don't fucking need to be there. I wanted to be there. You get what I'm saying? I get it. It's gonna be some people angry. You feel me? I'm mad every fucking day how I'm being handled. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Shit ain't right. Her platform is big enough. My platform is big enough for niggas to hear me. So if you didn't hear me before, in meetings and shit, and phone calls and text messages and all this little shaky, sneaky shit niggas got going on, man, you hear me now. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, like, yeah, hear me now. Yeah, hear me now. Here's what it is. And the reason, look, and the nigga Corey, that nigga ain't saying nothing that ain't nobody else saying. It's just that he don't like me. He already don't like me. So it's like, all right, he gonna pack it on. You know, them niggas let him have a field day with Jess, because I done had a field day with his ass. Trust and believe that nigga still hurt. Still hurt that I wouldn't accept his apology. Still hurt to do Jess with the mess. I was hired to carry that third seat. And I was doing that just great. But then I got pregnant by my fiance. Yeah, I did. Wouldn't regret it, never would. I fuck around and have another one. Stop playing with me, okay? So, I picked her. All right, cool. It's proof of that too. When I got back, she never left. I constantly was asking about, and when I say I called Charlamagne, I called our program director, I called the boss, and I'm asking, all right, what's going on? Why is she not leaving? What's up? Why is she still on air? I was told that she was going to be the producer. She was going to be hired as a producer. Okay. Producers aren't on air though. So what's going on? Because we have a lot of producers up there already. They're not on air. What's going on? I called and I've asked many times. That's what I got told. She's a producer. Oh, okay, cool. So I ain't asked no more. She's only on my segment. So I'm like, all right. I'm putting shit together. Because that's what I do. I put shit together. All right, here we go. So Shorty must about to be on the show. That's exactly what I put in my fucking head before anybody decided to come and tell me again. So I did another round of asking, all right, what are we doing? All right, well, we've always, this is the boss. We've always considered having a fourth seat. Well, when the fuck was y'all gonna tell me that? When was your, and this is months after I came back. This was like 2 months after I came back from maternity leave. We've always, ever since Angela Yee left, we said that we would consider having 4 seats. So why, when me and Claudia Jordan did the guest co-hosting, or me and Kendra G did the guest co-hosting, did everybody say, oh, it ain't gonna work with 4 people? Why, right? Why was that ever even said? Why wasn't that something that was presented at the jump, like from jump, at the top of the shit? That's what I want to know, right? But I'm still playing. I'm still here, mind you. I'm not playing the game. I'm just still here with it because I'm in this. This is a fucking contract. This ain't no part-time little shit. I got a contract that I negotiated and I got it. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm on air. She overtalks. She's overtalking me. Lauren knows she does this shit. Whatever. I've told her about this shit many a times. You know, she overtalks me. I'm like, yo, shut up. All right? Or hush, be quiet. Yeah, that clip that y'all saw. Yes, shut up. Be quiet. Yeah, I said that. And I've meant that. You know what I mean? That's the only way to get it, a hush. So I'm like, all right, cool. One day, I told her, because I went in the comments, I'm like, all right, people don't like that, all right, whatever. You know, I'm not her mother. She's another grown woman. I have to respect this lady. But she's not gonna keep talking over me. I'm already confused on why the fuck she's still here. You know what I mean? Like on air, not in the building, on air, right? So I'm like, all right. I told her, be quiet the next day. Charlamagne texts me and he says, yo, don't tell her be quiet. You tell her shut up. Play into that narrative of y'all beefing, y'all not liking each other. Why the fuck would we do that? But I'm like, you know what? All right, cool. She cool with it, I'm cool with it. Because I'm not a be quiet type of bitch anyway. I am a shut up type of bitch. Ask my kids, right? Even a step month old, ask her. So, then I asked again, I'm like, all right, so she's gonna be the fourth host. That's what it is. Whenever we do find that, you know what I'm saying, it's just a bunch of beating around the bush, y'all. So look, she started doing the news. I'm like, all right, look, that's our segment. Take me off that shit. Y'all give her that shit. Take me off that shit. This is her segment now. This is no longer just with the minister. You know, got dark fats as a mother. Okay. So I said, take me off that shit. This is not, it's no longer my segment. I said it. Take me off of that. Give it to her. Give it to her. Charlamagne said, nah, I don't want it to be her segment. It damn near sure is already. Like it's her segment. She's reading it and she. Dude, what if I'm feeling the same way the people feel? You know what I'm saying? So what? Cause niggas online feel a certain way. I feel the same way they feel about it.
Call me and curse me out. Call in and curse them out. Yes, you do.
Yes, like okay. I've done that. You know what I mean?
There's a bigger issue sometimes too, because I feel like, all right, you'll call him, you'll cuss him out. We might talk about different situations, but I think a lot of times if there's an issue for real, and then it don't be no movement in here, it's like there's an issue outside and then there's no movement in here, and then we just all in here like he ha. Like you're doing a lot of it right now. You're laughing and joking, but for real, you know that she's up here crying. Nothing about that is funny. Like, there's real issues and real problems, and we don't really get to the gist of it.
Never. I want the record to show I see Jess cry a lot. So
it doesn't matter if you see her cry 1,000 times.
Joke, talking about you know what? I'm not even talking to y'all. I'm not talking to y'all. See, because when I try to be serious and talk, you see what I'm saying? You see how they do me? I'm a mind my
What
business.
I'm saying is that I think at this moment, because this is East Side High, West Side, whatever high we gonna be, we here and we together, so we got to figure this out.
Okay, so there's been some drama going on, and it involves a pretty big radio show, The Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
And we are going to do a deep dive into what exactly has been happening with Jess Hilarious and her role on the show. It's a lot more than just gossip.
Absolutely.
It gets into the dynamics of a workplace and how those play out publicly.
Yeah, especially in a high-profile industry like this one where you have so many personalities.
Right. And to really get a good handle on what's happening, we've got
some sources.
Yes, sources. Yeah. So we're looking at transcripts from places like YouTube channels, HYPE Plus,
right,
which does a lot of, reaction videos and stuff to like hip hop news and media and that sort of thing. Poetic Flacco also.
Yeah, they tend to be pretty opinionated.
Yeah.
And they don't shy away from criticism.
Exactly.
We've also got The Dumper.
Yes.
They really like dig into the background and analyze people and events.
They give the backstory, I think is a good way of putting it.
Absolutely.
So our mission with this deep dive is to help you understand just what exactly is going on with Jess Hilarious. What are her specific complaints? How are other people interpreting the situation? And really, what does it tell us about how this particular show works?
Yeah, and maybe even more broadly, the media world in general.
Exactly.
So just to give everybody the context here. Jess Hilarious joined the show in February 2024,
Okay.
taking over Angela Yee's co-hosting spot. And now, not that long after that, she's taken to Instagram Live to air some grievances.
To vent.
So we're talking a period of less than a year that seems to have been pretty eventful.
Yeah. So let's get into what Jess has been saying about these early experiences and some of her frustrations.
It sounds like there were bumps in the road kind of right from the start.
Right away.
Yeah, even in the early days, according to that HYPE plus transcript,
Yeah.
there were some public disagreements
Okay.
between Jess and the other host, Charlemagne, thank God, and DJ Envy, about comments that were made about artists like SCA and Mary J. Blige. So, yeah, there were some differences of opinion on how to discuss pop culture on the show.
Okay. Interesting. So already some clashes there in terms of like opinions and stuff.
Yeah. And then you've got this whole situation with Lauren L. Rue.
Oh, yeah. Lauren L. Rue. This is a big one.
Yeah, it is. She came in as a fill-in while Jess was on maternity leave, which, remember, was pretty soon after Jess joined.
Right. Very soon.
This seems to be at the heart of a lot of the tension.
At the root of it.
For sure. From what Jess says in that HYPE plus transcript, her initial frustration when she came back from leave was actually directed at Lauren.
Okay.
But she says she realized pretty quickly that the issue was more with management and the overall way things were being run at the Breakfast Club.
So it wasn't personal with Lauren. It was like a...
Yeah, it was more about decisions being made without her knowledge.
Interesting. So she felt left out of the loop.
Definitely.
And I know one thing she specifically called out was her segment, Jess with the Mess. And she felt like Lauren was basically taking over that segment.
Totally.
And she seemed really caught off guard by that.
The HYPE plus transcript quotes her saying, "Take my name off that shit.
Whoa.
Jess with the Mess is not a Breakfast Club. I'm just hilarious up here. Jess for the Mess is not being done. Lauren L. Rue is doing the shit, so that need to be her segment."
Wow.
So she clearly felt a sense of ownership over that segment.
Right.
She felt a connection to it, and it felt like it was being taken away without her input.
Without her even knowing.
Right. And she even mentioned fighting for that segment.
Really?
Like it was something she valued.
So it wasn't just like, whatever.
No, definitely not.
This is something that was important to her.
Clearly.
So, I mean, it really does sound like she was feeling very undermined.
Yeah, she didn't hold back either. She said she felt played with and that the work environment felt disorganized.
Nice.
Like it was ran like a high schooler.
Oh, wow. That's a tough statement.
For sure. And she also mentioned that she enjoys herself more when she's not at the studio.
Oh, wow.
Which I think speaks volumes.
Yeah, I mean, if you're dreading going to work, then that says a lot.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And something else that's interesting is that she brought up Angela Yee leaving.
Oh, right.
You know how she was on the show for a long time.
Yeah, over a decade, right?
Yeah, 13 years. So Jess is kind of implying that Yee must have had good reasons for leaving after being there for so long.
Interesting. She's drawing a parallel
Exactly.
between what she's feeling and maybe what Angela Yee was feeling.
Yeah, it makes you wonder about what the culture's been like at the Breakfast Club.
Right, over time.
Mm-hmm.
And this idea of not feeling supported by her colleagues, I think, is really important to how Jess is feeling.
Yeah.
She said, not one person comes to my defense at all. Like when I'm like, not one mother bleep ever with this online shit.
Yeah, that really highlights a feeling of isolation.
Right, like she's on her own.
Totally.
But to get the full picture, we have to look at how other people are interpreting this whole thing. Now, Poetic Flacco on their YouTube channel, they often have some pretty critical takes.
Mm-hmm.
They're offering a very different perspective on Jess's return and Lauren L. Rue staying on the show.
Yeah, this is where the story takes a bit of a turn.
Okay.
So the transcript from Poetic Flacco details an alleged incident where Jess Hilarious apparently showed up late on her first day back from maternity leave.
Oh, wow.
And get this, the reason was allegedly to kick Lauren LaRosa out of your seat.
Whoa. So that paints a very different picture than just being surprised by changes.
Yeah, right away you're seeing a more confrontational stance from Jess.
Interesting. Okay, so Poetic Flacco even goes so far as to say that Jess was actually mean to Lauren L. Rue, which would have made things uncomfortable for everybody.
Yeah, you have to wonder what those early interactions were really like.
Right behind the scenes.
And building on this idea of Jess feeling unsupported, Poetic Flacco is actually arguing that Jess was more upset that the Breakfast Club didn't publicly protect her from the negative comments online.
Like what kind of comments?
Specifically the comments suggesting that Lauren L. Rue should be the permanent co-host.
Oh, wow. So it's like Jess wanted the show to kind of step in and defend her.
Yeah, which is interesting because remember, Jess herself in that HYPE Plus interview,
Yeah.
she admits that she was the one who suggested Lauren,
Oh, right.
along with other women, to fill in while she was on leave.
So she was okay with Lauren at first.
In a temporary role.
Yeah. It's when they decided to keep Lauren on after Jess came back that things started to feel odd to her.
Exactly. So maybe Jess thought Lauren was just a temporary replacement.
But then it seemed like Lauren was becoming more permanent.
Right, like a shift in the show's dynamic that Jess wasn't happy with.
And then there's that whole disagreement over Jess with the mess.
Oh, yeah, that gets even more complicated when you look at Poetic Flacco's perspective.
How so?
So Jess is claiming that she was the one who pushed for Lauren to have her own intro and for Jess's name to be taken off the segment if she wasn't the one doing it. But Poetic Flacco is calling that extremely dishonest and manipulative.
Wow.
They're saying that the segment had already basically become Lauren's because Jess wasn't doing it consistently or well.
Oh.
They even say that Jess don't know how to read well enough for the segment.
Oh, wow.
And that fans actually preferred Lauren's delivery.
Ouch.
This really challenges Jess's version of a villain.
Yeah, so the implication here is that the change wasn't some sneaky move.
Right.
It was more like a natural consequence of maybe Jess not doing the segment that well.
And the audience liking Lauren better.
Okay, and Poetic Flacco even makes this analogy comparing Jess to a girlfriend who's been dumped.
And she's the last one to realize it.
Ouch.
Like her role on the show was slowly being reduced.
And she didn't see it coming.
Right.
There's also this pretty personal claim that Poetic Flacco makes that Jess got pregnant intentionally
On purpose.
right after she got the job.
Yeah, that's a pretty big statement.
Yeah, it implies something about her commitment.
To the role from the very start.
And this ties into the idea that Jess slacked and didn't really master the segment before going on leave.
So maybe the show already had concerns about her.
Even before Lauren came in.
Exactly. And Poetic Flacco says that the Breakfast Club's plan was always to have 3 permanent hosts.
Okay.
And in their view, Lauren just ended up being a better fit.
For that third spot
Right.
than Jess.
Poetic Flacco also talks about a meeting where it was suggested that Jess go part-time,
So she could.
focus more on her stand-up comedy.
But Jess saw this as a way of pushing her out.
Exactly. So you can see how the same conversation can be interpreted in totally different ways.
Totally. So from Poetic Flacco's perspective, Jess isn't being blindsided.
Right.
Her role was already being discussed and maybe adjusted.
Because of these performance concerns.
And now she's reacting to that.
Exactly. Poetic Flacco's conclusion is that Jess probably knows her role has been reduced.
Maybe even to the point of being fired.
Yeah, and that this Instagram Live was her way of getting ahead of the story.
Trying to control the narrative.
Yeah, before anything official is announced.
Okay, so now let's add comedian Corey Holcomb to the mix.
Oh boy.
His beef with Jess Hilarious, which goes way back.
Before she was even on The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, seems to be a factor in how she's feeling.
Yeah, it's definitely adding fuel to the fire.
So the dumper actually dives into the history of this conflict.
They provide a lot of good background.
Yeah, so Holcomb has made some jokes publicly
Comparing Lauren Elru's talent
to Jess's.
and saying that Lauren's more talented,
Ouch.
which has obviously contributed to how Jess is feeling.
Right, and that feeling of not being defended.
Exactly. She specifically says, nobody defends me.
And she's talking about this online shit with Holcomb.
Right.
But the dumper makes the point that her problem with Holcomb is personal. It goes back years.
It's not really something that her co-hosts should necessarily get involved in.
Right, they're saying it's not their battle.
Exactly. They compare it to how DJ Envy and Charlamagne the God handle their own disagreements.
Like when they have beef with other people.
Right? They don't expect their co-hosts to jump in and defend them online.
Interesting. So it's every man for himself.
It seems like there's this expectation that you handle your own stuff.
Interesting. And there's some real history between Jess and Holcomb.
Yeah. The dumper mentions a few past incidents.
Yeah.
Like Jess claiming that Holcomb made comments about her son.
Really?
And that Nick Cannon had Holcomb removed from Wild and Out.
Oh, wow.
So this is a long-running feud.
Deep-rooted stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
And even though Holcomb has apparently apologized to Jess in the past,
It's still going on.
it's still simmering.
And the dumper raises the possibility that Jess might be a little too focused on what people are saying online.
Like maybe she's taking it too personally.
Yeah, letting the comments get to her.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this really connects back to Jess talking about Angela Yee leaving.
And that feeling of not being protected.
Like she sees a connection between her experience and Angela's.
Absolutely. And the HYPE Plus transcript does mention Yee's past frustrations with being the only woman on the show a lot of the time.
Right.
And the dumper brings up the whole incident with Gucci Mane.
Oh, right.
On The Breakfast Club.
Where?
Where Charlemagne, God, and DJ Envy laughed when Gucci Mane was being disrespectful to Yee.
Right.
Which made her feel really unsupported.
And that probably played a part in her eventually leaving.
Yeah, after being there for so long.
So the argument here is that both Jess and Angela Yee felt like their male co-hosts didn't always have their backs.
Yeah, that they weren't protected in certain situations.
But the dumper offers a different perspective here, too.
Okay.
They give examples of times when DJ Envy and Charlemagne have also been disrespected.
By guests on the show.
And they handled those situations themselves.
They didn't go online afterward and expect their co-hosts to defend them.
So it's like a consistent pattern.
Yeah, it seems like part of the culture of the show is that you deal with your own stuff.
Interesting.
And the dumper even points out that Jess Hilarious herself as a comedian makes jokes about other people all the time.
Which is true.
So it raises the question of whether she can expect to be defended when she's also dishing it out.
Right.
And they bring up a pretty pointed example.
What's that?
The dumper mentions that Jess made a joke about a child who was having brain surgeries.
Really?
And then she complained about not being defended against Corey Holcomb's jokes.
So it's like she can make jokes, but she can't take them.
The point they're making is that there's some inconsistency there.
Right, you can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
The dumper is suggesting that the Breakfast Club might not be the right place for someone who needs constant defending.
It's a high-pressure environment.
People are always going to have opinions.
And you have to be able to handle that.
Okay, so to sum it all up, we've got Jess Hilarious, who feels like she's being pushed out.
And that she's not being supported.
But then we've got these other perspectives suggesting that maybe there were concerns about her performance.
And that this is just how the Breakfast Club operates.
This really shows you how complicated things can get in a workplace.
Especially when it's all playing out in public.
Right.
It's fascinating how personal feelings, professional expectations, and the culture of a place can all clash like this.
And it all becomes very public.
So what can we learn from this?
I think it makes you really think about the difference between how people present themselves in the media.
And what they expect behind the scenes.
Like in terms of loyalty and support, it makes you wonder what being a team actually means in a competitive field like this.
And where the line is between your work relationships and your personal feelings.
That's something to think about.
Definitely.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.
You shut up.
All I want to do is radio. Okay? All Charlemagne want to do is laugh. Then y'all yell at me for laughing. You don't take nothing serious.
They said it's all your fault.
I know. It's always my fault. I don't care. Okay? I take the good and the bad with everything. It is what it is. It's the world's most dangerous morning show, The Breakfast Club. DJ Envy, Charlemagne the God, Jess Hilarious, Lauren LaRosa is here. We're having a conversation because Jess Hilarious went crazy on Instagram last night.
And I knew the live would upset. You know, Charlemagne, you don't get upset, whatever. But I knew that it would upset Envy. I knew it would upset Lauren. That's why you closed the elevator this morning.
That was crazy. Now, why would you do that, Lauren?
I just.
What you mean close the
I wanted
elevator?
to.
They pulled up at the same time.
At the same time where we parked, and she was in front of me.
She saw Jess. She didn't know what Jess was on, so she rushed to the
ran
elevator. She hit the button. You remember when Q was on Juice and he thought Bishop was behind him?
I hit the button one time, and this was why.
I heard the button though.
I felt like I didn't know what to say to you because I was so thrown off by parts of that live yesterday. I'm like, bro, we be talking at least enough. Like, we don't got to be friends outside of here. But I feel like I've always said to you off air, whenever things have happened, we've had conversations about a lot of different things. Let's talk. Call me. What's up? What's the issue? What's going on?
The issue is the whole narrative. Like, I understand after comments and after people and all that. But it's not all about them. It's how I'm feeling too. What if I'm feeling the same way the people feel? You know what I'm saying? So what? Because niggas online feel a certain way. I feel the same way they feel about it.
Call me and curse me out. Call in me and curse him out. Yes, you do.
Yes, I've done that. You know what I mean?
There's a bigger issue sometimes too, because I feel like, all right, you'll call him, you'll cuss him out. We might talk about different situations. But I think a lot of times, if there's an issue for real, and then it don't be no movement in here, it's like there's an issue outside and then there's no movement in here, and then we just all in here like he ha. Like, you're doing a lot of it right now. You're laughing and joking, but for real, you know that there's she's up here crying. Nothing about that is funny. Like, there's real issues and real problems, and we don't really get to the gist of it.
Ever.
I want the record to show I see Jess cry a lot. So
It doesn't matter if you see her cry
So
1,000
why you always
times.
joke,
He's
man?
talking about
you know
see
what?
me
I'm
cry
not even
a
talking
lot.
to y'all. I'm not talking to y'all. See, because when I try to be serious and talk, you see what I'm saying? You see how they do me? I'm gonna mind my
What I'm
business.
saying is that I think at this moment, because this is East Side High, West Side, whatever high we gonna be, we here and we together, so we got to figure this out. And it's not, everything's not a joke. And I can understand some of where you was coming from, but bro, part of that live I thought was crazy. I'm like, what, Jess? Like,
What parts did you think was
yeah,
crazy?
what part? Because like, one, it's not like you didn't hear anything in that live that I haven't said to you.
I heard a lot that you didn't say to me in
Okay, so
person.
what part did I not say to you?
Okay, so the part about the talking over each other and the hush, be quiet, because you talk about how you feel in real time, right?
Yeah.
I'm feeling in real time. That be quiet. That was crazy. The shut up. I was like, oh, okay, because what we really giving up here? Like, what's up?
Okay,
right?
but
I didn't.
none of that was said.
I
You didn't say anything about that.
And then when I pulled you into the office with our EP with Eddie, the first thing I said to you was, Jess, we fighting for airtime and it shouldn't be like that. I want to know what can I do better as a producer? What can we do better as the two women sitting right here next to each other to make sure that don't happen, because it doesn't look good. It's not going to play well for either one of
I
us.
literally swear to God, I don't even remember you saying that.
And that's exactly why I had Eddie in the room, or EP,
I don't
to have
understand.
have the
never
conversation.
ever heard that.
Because
when you've pulled me to the side a few times to ask me, are you okay? How do you feel like about the stories and things like that? You've never said what you just said to me. Now listen. I have said, hush, shut up. Like, yo, you overtalk. And like I said, I'm not about to be up here fighting for no mic. Like, I'm not doing that. If I already got the job, like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not. It's four voices. Three of us are very opinionated. You know what I mean? Me, you, and Charlamagne. I'm not saying Envy don't got no opinion, but he don't jump in every single time there's dead air. You know what I'm saying? When you overtalk. And it's like the only time you can quiet down is if somebody be like, shut up or hush.
My mom don't even tell me shut up, Jess. I'm a grown ass woman.
And I understand. You could have said that on air right then and there. Or right after when you saying you put me in office. You never put me nowhere to tell me that.
Because the way that I do things when it comes to my job and my career, that's not what we on. And I told you from the jump, I was never going to give that to you. Ever.
Okay.
And I did or not? Our first conversation, I said, if I ever have an issue with you, I'm going to handle it in a way where we can get through a conversation, because we grown, and regardless, you don't got to love me, you don't got to like me, but we here together. I'm here.
And listen, like I said earlier, the internet loves mess.
Yes, you are here.
And one of the easiest ways to create mess is to pit women against each other.
And you're here because of an opportunity that I extended.
Regardless of...
No. I'm not sitting here like you don't deserve to be here. I'm not sitting here like you're not here. You're not going anywhere. That's first and foremost, let's get that. It may be my delivery or whatever. But yeah, you are here. I ain't never say you shouldn't be here. I said from the whole jump, yeah, Shorty do the job, great, she's amazing. That's why I want it to be her segment. I
think y'all can work very well together. And once again, you got to stop letting the internet pit y'all against each other. I know the internet has created a narrative, Lauren versus Jess, Jess versus Lauren.
No, but
that's what it is.
It beyond it go, and that's what I'm trying to say is the internet is there. We see it. None of us can ignore it. I saw that Corey thing a week ago. It didn't say nothing about it.
Yeah, but y'all clear up everything else. Nobody want to clear up that I'm not doing that. I don't like you, or I'm hating on a.
They say I'm gay. I ain't never came up here and said I don't suck no pee-pee.
That's true, though.
That's different now. Come on.
The last time I attempted to do that, Jess, it went so bad that I said I wasn't going to do it again.
Attempted to do what?
I don't dislike you. You don't dislike me. The day you came back. That's what my intentions was. And we talked about it.
That was different. The way when I did come back, Lauren, you have to admit that ish was crazy. The way we had a setup, we had something going, we had a whole nother plan. It went left. You came in here and it's like you did something totally different. The first thing that you spoke to was the things in the comments.
I feel like we're having a behind the scenes meeting on air, which is kind of cool, but let's go to commercial or something and then come back.
Well, the whole thing is we need a resolution, bro. We'll take some phone calls, but like I'm resolution based and not argument based, so let's resolve
shut
this.
up. You're the number one beige rage person. You ain't never came up with a resolution, a solution in your life. Cut it out.
Well, I just want to say,
Women's History Month. I just want to say,
Jess, what you feeling, we feel it together. And when the other thing happened that I called you about, I said that to you.
What was the other thing? Oh, you don't want to say
the academics thing. And I want you to know, I responded
to me, it's just lead.
I responded to that on Twitter. I didn't send it to you. I didn't feel like I had to, but I did. But I called you about it.
The comments. Stop listening to the comments.
Let me talk.
In real life, we love everybody. Y'all love each other. This can work.
It will work. It will work. What I'm saying, no, because this
you see what I'm saying? Don't let it go.
I'm joking. No, I'm joking.
Came from them making it a topic, and now it's the problem because we're talking about
exactly.
it.
What I'm saying is that this will work, but sometimes this might have to happen, and it's happening with love. Because when I saw Jess crying, I came in here because I care about you. Have to be okay for all of this to be okay. And I'm a producer at the end of the day. You my talent. We gonna be straight. Everything's gonna be fine.
Let's take some calls and then we'll come right back.
Ever get that feeling like you're drowning in content? You know, you want the good stuff, the insights, but who has time to sift through hours of videos and articles?
Right. It's information overload out there.
Totally. So today we're doing things a little differently. You guys gave us some really interesting material to work with, and we're calling this a deep dive.
A deep dive. I like that.
Right. We're going deep. So we have this really lively discussion from The Breakfast Club, a popular radio show, and a music video for a song called, well, Money.
Interesting combo. Not exactly what you'd think of as a natural pairing.
Exactly. But that's the beauty of it. We're going to peel back the layers and see what we can learn about, teams, communication, success, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm seeing some unexpected connections already.
Me too. So basically, we're taking two very different snapshots of, the world and seeing what they reflect back to us. What can we learn about teamwork, communication, public image, all of that?
Sounds like a plan. Where do we start?
Let's jump right into that Breakfast Club discussion first. It's juicy.
Okay, buckle up.
So the clip we have is basically a conversation with DJ Envy, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the God, and Lauren LaRosa.
The gang's all here.
Right. And it seems like the whole conversation is sparked by Jess coming back to the show after maternity leave.
The return. Always a bit of an adjustment.
Yeah. And there's this underlying tension about Lauren's role on the show, which seems to have evolved while Jess was away.
Makes sense. Things change, roles shift.
Exactly. And what's so fascinating is how the listeners pick up on this right away. The first caller, Odell from the Bronx, he nails it. He says Jess has a point, about this whole Lauren situation. Lauren stepped in, which is fine, but if she's now becoming a more permanent part of the show, it should be, clear and transparent.
Yeah, I see his point. It's about feeling like things are happening out in the open, not behind the scenes.
Totally. Odell even says he thought Lauren was just the producer at first. He wasn't really clear on what her role was.
Right, so what we're seeing here is what we often call role ambiguity. It's not about whether Lauren is talented or deserving, but about the lack of clarity regarding her position, and how that intersects with Jess coming back.
It's like everyone needs a clear picture of who's doing what and why.
Bingo. And without that shared understanding, you get confusion, discomfort, all sorts of issues.
It's like the foundation is shaky.
Exactly.
So we hear from Odell, who's kind of on Jess's side, and then we get this caller named B, who has a completely different take. He's like, keep the backstage drama off the air.
The keep it professional approach.
Yeah, exactly. He argues that Jess negotiated her position, her role on the show, so these internal changes shouldn't really be her concern.
Interesting. So he's basically saying, as long as her individual agreement is solid, the wider team dynamics don't really matter.
Kind of, yeah. And he also throws in this advice about ignoring online chatter, which is something we hear a lot.
The classic don't feed the trolls strategy.
But I think B misses the point a little. Even if Jess's individual contract is safe, this lack of clarity, this kind of unspoken tension, it can really affect the whole team's vibe,
Oh, absolutely. It's like a low-level hum of uncertainty that can really impact morale and performance.
Morale, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, then we hear from Zach from Brooklyn, who brings a much more positive, optimistic perspective. He's like, hey, Jess and Lauren can totally work together, play to their strengths. He even envisions Jess doing the messy stuff and Lauren handling the news.
I like his thinking. He's seeing collaboration, not competition.
Right. He's all about that synergy. And he also cautions against letting outside negativity poison the whole atmosphere.
That's so important, especially for teams that are in the public eye. They're constantly under scrutiny, and it's easy to let those external voices get in your head and affect the team dynamic.
Totally. Which brings us to Charlamagne, who makes this really insightful point about the value of feedback. He says, look, we have real callers, real listeners who are invested in the show. They give us genuine feedback, even if it's critical.
Yeah, he's differentiating between the people who are truly engaged with the show and those who are just, adding to the noise.
Exactly. He contrasts that with online commenters who can be anonymous, have their own agendas, might even be trolls, who knows.
It's a crucial distinction. Real listeners want the show to succeed. Online commenters, well, their motivations can be all over the map.
And their comments often aren't very constructive.
Right. It can be more about stirring the pot than actually contributing to a meaningful conversation.
So Charlemagne's point is basically focus on the real connections, the genuine feedback, and tune out the rest.
Solid advice for anyone navigating the online world, really.
Absolutely. Then we get this little moment, a bit more personal, where Charlemagne brings up Lauren's wigs. He kind of teases Jess, asking if it feels like talking to a different person each time because Lauren's style changes.
Oh, I remember that. It was a funny moment.
Yeah, but Jess's response is great. She's humorous, but also direct, making it clear that she connects with Lauren, the person, regardless of the hairstyle.
Which shows a lot of maturity and professionalism. It's like, look, I'm here for the work, for the connection, not for the superficial stuff.
Right. It's about substance over style.
Exactly.
Okay, the next caller is Key from Atlanta. And she says she tuned back in specifically for Jess. She was excited for Jess to be back, but she immediately picked up on this awkwardness, this feeling that Lauren had kind of taken over Jess's spot without any real explanation.
And Key's perspective is so interesting because she's a returning listener. She has that history with the show, so she's immediately noticing this shift.
Right. It's not just an internal issue. Yes. It's palpable to the audience, which can really impact their perception of the show.
Totally. And the phrase she uses, in her seat, it really captures that feeling of something being off, like a missing piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, it's like the dynamic has changed, but nobody explained why. And this prompts Jess to clarify her own role in all this, with Lauren initially stepping in.
Okay, let's unpack that.
So Jess says that she actually suggested Lauren fill in while she was on maternity leave. Like she was the one who put Lauren forward.
That adds a whole other layer to it.
Right. But Jess emphasizes that it was the lack of communication afterward about Lauren's ongoing role that felt strange. Like, if there were already plans for Lauren to be more permanent, why not say something? Maybe even while Jess was still on leave.
Yeah, it goes back to that transparency thing. Even if the intentions were good, the way it was handled created this sense of unease.
And I think that's a valuable lesson for any team. You can have the best intentions, but if you don't communicate clearly and openly, it can backfire.
Big time. It's like assuming everyone's on the same page when they might be reading from completely different books.
That's a good analogy. Okay, so then the hosts kind of try to reconstruct the initial plan, like what was the original intention. They say that Jess was always meant to be a host and Lauren was the senior news producer.
Right, so in theory, their roles were defined.
But apparently Lauren's on-air segment just kind of evolved naturally, organically, which led to this whole situation. It's almost like they're realizing live on air that maybe they should have been more structured, more deliberate about how things unfolded.
It happens. Sometimes things grow organically, which can be great, but it also requires a strong framework of communication to make sure everyone's on board with the changes.
And that framework seems to have been missing here.
Right, and that's where the problems arise.
Okay, then we get this really significant moment where Charlemagne actually acknowledges Jess's discomfort. He even admits that he himself wasn't entirely clear on how everything was evolving.
Wow, that's a pretty big admission.
It is, and it kind of validates Jess's feelings,
Yeah.
If even someone like Charlemagne, who's been on the show forever, was confused, it makes sense that Jess felt out of the loop.
Totally. It points to a systemic communication breakdown within the team.
And Charlemagne also says something really interesting. He says that Jess's frustration might have been misdirected because of this lack of clarity. Like, the real issue wasn't necessarily with Lauren, but with the lack of communication from the leadership.
That's a really important point. When information is scarce, it's easy to project our frustrations onto the wrong target.
And that can damage relationships unnecessarily.
Exactly. So open communication isn't just about efficiency. It's about protecting those interpersonal dynamics.
It's about building trust.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Jess kind of sums it up by saying that she's cool with Lauren now. She appreciates what Lauren brings to the table, but this lack of communication still creates this weird space.
That's such a good way to put it. It's like the personal relationship might be fine, but the underlying issue hasn't been fully addressed.
Right. And that weird space can be really detrimental in the long run. It can breed resentment, stifle creativity,
It can erode trust, make people hesitant to speak up. It's like a crack in the foundation that can widen over time.
Totally. And the segment ends with the hosts, especially Charlemagne, committing to resolving the situation. He talks about the value that both Jess and Lauren bring to the show and really emphasizes the importance of ignoring those negative online narratives that are trying to pit them against each other.
It's a good reminder that external noise can often be more about creating drama than reflecting reality.
Right. And he brings it back to the support of their actual listeners, the people who matter.
Which is what it should always be about at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Okay, let's switch gears now. Ready for a totally different vibe.
Hit me.
We're diving into that music video transcript. For money, it's a whole other world.
Yeah, from real-world team dynamics to, well, I'm guessing a more stylized portrayal of success.
You got it. So the lyrics are pretty straightforward, like, I get money, count it up, and keep coming to me. That's pretty much the central theme.
Okay, very on the nose.
Yeah, no subtlety here. And there's also this big emphasis on, dominance, power. We hear the lines like, watch your step, warnings to big head busters, stuff like that.
So it's about wealth, but also about maintaining a position, holding on to that power.
Right. It's not enough to just have the money. You have to protect it, assert yourself.
And make sure everyone knows you're the one in charge.
Exactly. And there's this one line that really struck me. If you waiting for me to fall off, bitch, hold your breath. It's like, boom, mic drop.
Yeah, it's a statement. It's basically saying, I'm on top, I'm not going anywhere, so don't even bother doubting me.
It's complete confidence, zero tolerance for negativity.
Which is interesting when you contrast it with the Breakfast Club discussion.
Right. In the music video, we have this very public, very polished image of success. But in the radio show, we see the real, sometimes messy human side of what it takes to maintain a team, a platform.
And it reminds us that behind every public persona, there's a whole network of relationships, dynamics, challenges.
Totally. So in Money, we get this very individualistic, almost invincible image of success. It's all about external validation, the money, the power.
But the Breakfast Club shows us the importance of internal alignment, communication, those less glamorous but essential elements of a successful team.
So two very different perspectives on what it means to be successful.
And both offer valuable insights.
Absolutely. So what are your biggest takeaways from this whole deep dive? What are the things that really stand out to you?
For me, the Breakfast Club situation really highlights the crucial importance of communication, especially within a team. Yeah. When roles and responsibilities are shifting even slightly, it's so important to be clear, consistent, and proactive with communication.
Otherwise, things can get messy really fast.
Exactly. And that messiness can lead to misunderstandings, conflicts, even damage to relationships.
And it can all be avoided with a little bit of upfront communication.
Exactly. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. And the other thing that stood out to me was the importance of prioritizing internal feedback. The voices of the people who are genuinely invested in your success.
Tuning out the noise, as Charlemagne said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that external noise, especially online, can be so distracting, so misleading. It can make you question yourself, create unnecessary drama.
So focus on the people who matter, the ones who are in the trenches with you.
Right. And I think the Money video, in contrast, reminds us that outward success, the kind that's often celebrated in our culture, doesn't always tell the whole story.
Yeah, it can be a facade.
It can be. And true success, sustainable success, often relies on those less visible, less glamorous elements. Strong relationships, clear communication, a shared vision.
It's like the foundation of a house. You might have the fanciest facade, but if the foundation is weak, the whole thing will crumble. So here's a thought to leave you with. Think about the teams you're part of in any area of your life. Work, family, friends, whatever. How often are the expectations and roles truly crystal clear?
That's a good question.
Right. And how much does that external noise, whether it's online comments, societal pressures, or just the expectations of others, how much does that influence the internal harmony of your team?
Because it's so easy to get caught up in that external validation, to lose sight of what's really important.
Totally. And maybe, just maybe, the raw, sometimes awkward transparency we saw in the Breakfast Club can be a lesson for all of us.
I think it can.
Because even though it was messy, they were willing to address the issues head on, have those difficult conversations, and ultimately that's what creates a stronger, more resilient team.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. So what proactive steps can you take starting today to foster better communication, clearer expectations within your teams? How can you create that space for open, honest dialogue, even when it's uncomfortable? Because that's where the real growth happens.
That's the foundation for lasting success in any context.
It's something worth striving for.